recently we did a whole series on worship, and I wanted to go back and hit that again because it's such an important topic. And one of the things we have to really ask ourselves is, what does it mean to worship? What is the definition of worship? I'm afraid for an awful lot of Christians, the word worship means sing. If I'm singing, that's called worship. When we go to church, that's the worship period of the service. And if you went back to Jesus' day and you talked to the Jewish people, the regular people, the commoners, the religious leaders, everybody, what does worship mean? Well, for them it would have been different. It would involve going to a specific place, the temple, and usually specific action, a sacrifice. There would be an animal sacrifice. That animal sacrifice would be worship. And, you know, there's different people have different definitions. Do we ever ask, what's Jesus' definition of worship? What does God define worship as? Oh, I know what Paul's definition is. You're going to find this one strange because it kind of mixes all the other ones together in something brand new. And it's in Romans 12:1. And Paul writes, "Therefore I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God." And here it is. "This is your true and proper worship." In other words, instead of talking about singing or anything specifically related to a location, Paul sort of grabs some of both. And he says, what I want you to do, what God wants you to do, is he wants you to take your bodies, and instead of going to the temple and sacrificing an animal, I want you to take your bodies and I want you to take them out into the world, and I want you to use them as a living sacrifice for God. I want you to love people through the bodies that you have. I want you to take all that you are and all that you can be, and I want you to use it to love God by loving people. And that is how Paul defines worship. So while the other part is good and wonderful, the singing and the watching, that we talked about, looking at small things and big things and admiring God's power and majesty, recognize that your truest worship doesn't come by anything you normally call worship. It comes by taking all that you are and giving it back to God in loving others. That is worship, and that is today's Jumpstart. If you like today's Jumpstart, why don't you share it with a friend or maybe like it? And of course, make sure you subscribe so you stay updated on all that's going on.